Hello there. So I'd like to talk about my Space Marine chapter that I've made and sort of how to go about making a chapter and just sort of ideas and thoughts. And I thought I'd share my process and sort of show how I went about making one so that you can sort of see how I did it. So, well, here goes. So starting in they were my first army, some Space Marines. I painted them pretty. I mean, you can't see very well, but he's not very well painted. He wasn't a very good miniature, and I made quite a lot of them. Not very good, and it took me ages to come up with a sort of a chapter title and an idea of who they were. So to start off with, I really liked the Black Templars images in the Codex and in the box set. I bought the 3rd edition box set when it came out, and I really liked the idea of Black Templars. I thought they looked really cool, but rather than just making Black Templars, I wanted to make something that was my own. So I sort of painted. He's sort of half a Black Templar and half yellow, and for ages I didn't know what that meant, just that I really liked those colours. So that's what I started with. I started with the colour scheme first, rather than trying to build everything up. So I started with a colour scheme, and then I was about 13 or 14, and I couldn't work out what to call them. And for a while I wanted to call them the Arachnids, because I thought it was a cool name. Sort of about spiders, and spiders are sort of cool, and that's what I sort of, but I wasn't 100% sure, so I stuck with Arachnids for a little bit and sort of I let the sort of characters develop over time. I didn't do it straight away. It took me years to get to now. It took me sort of 10 years to get to what I wanted to call them. So I had them as Arachnids, and they weren't painted very well, and I was trying to work out sort of what style of chapter they would be, and I really liked Raven Guard, and I really liked Imperial Fists, and Black Templars was sort of an off branch of Imperial Fists, and I really liked that. And it was hard to decide how would you have Raven Guard tactics in an Imperial Fists sort of successor chapter. So that was strange. They were sort of almost diametrically opposed. That Raven Guard are sort of lightning claws and swift and sort of stealth, and Imperial Fists sort of arm. They're sort of a static gunline army, traditionally. But as I sort of developed my understanding of Space Marines, you can have a siege army of Raven Guard because they have Vindicators and they have Land Raiders and they have demolitions experts, and the same with Imperial Fists and sort of Crimson Fists. They have, and Black Templars, they have an assault element. So a Space Marine chapter has all the equipment of all the Space Marine chapters. They have sort of preferred tactics. So it allowed me to sort of have some Raven Guard elements or styles and sort of the swift decisiveness of that chapter. So then we got along to, I decided on a more refined paint scheme. So it's still yellow Aquilas and a white shoulder pad, but it's just sort of more polished. And I had a go of highlighting, and that was great. So I got my colour scheme sorted out, and it sort of developed, which was really good. And then the name for the chapter, it took me a while to work out what I was going to call it. They're going to be called the Knights Obsidian. So they're sort of Black Templars, Black Knights, Knights Obsidian, Obsidians, Black. And I thought, how am I going to have sort of what level of succession are they going to be for Imperial Fists? Are they going to be Imperial Fists, or are they going to be Raven Guard? Like, which way do I fall? So I'm going to say that they're Imperial Fist successors, and that I'm going to paint up some Imperial Fists sort of from the Horus Heresy that are sort of, the ones that are just black with yellow and a yellow helmet. I'm going to go for those, and they're going to be the sort of Knights Obsidian, or the Obsidian Knights of inside the Imperial Fist sort of Legion. So that's sort of the more growing up at the background. How can I sort of develop, how can I take the name of my chapter and sort of make it sort of seem realistic within the Warhammer 40,000 universe? So we've got that. And then I also really like Iron Warriors, and they're sort of the mechanical siege, heavy fortifications aspect, and they're a traitor legion. And I wanted to sort of take the idea of the sort of schism of the Horus Heresy and the ideas of sort of Blackshields and Iron Warriors and the sort of splintering factions within Warhammer 40,000 and everything that's happening in Warhammer 30k in the Horus Heresy, and sort of say, how can I sort of place seeds of stories from 30k in the Horus Heresy into my Space Marine chapter. So what I ended up doing was actually saying I don't want to have Imperial Fists as the genetic sort of lineage for my Knights Obsidian, that I wanted to have them as being, actually they're going to be Iron Warriors, but rather than just saying that Iron Warriors, I wanted to be a lot more sort of subtle, so they're Iron Warriors, but they remained loyal, and they were sort of subsumed into the Imperial Fists Legion, as they still were a legion, but they were sort of kept separate, and then through the mist of time they became Knights Obsidian. So that's sort of the general story of how it grew, and I'm on about 7 minutes now, so I'm going to stop. But this is going to be the first video of many talking about developing my chapter and how you can develop, hopefully you can learn, well not learn, but sort of use a framework of what I'm going to present as to how to make your own Space Marine chapter. So that's the first video of several. It's going to be a long project, and I thought I'd start with that of colour schemes and the name and sort of a general how they became what they became. So ta-ta for now.